It's now about 30 seconds to the 10-minute gun. The moment the flag is down, so we're getting ready to the start sequence. So I'll time you on the start, which is now about 20 seconds away on the warning signal.
Fantastic, and we'll come to you for that in about 10 seconds. We're just on board right now with Telefonica
10,
Blue.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that was a 10-minute signal for the import race in Rio de Janeiro.
All right, thanks, Knut. So there's the warning signal after long postponement. Unfortunately, we have been postponed for 2 hours out here, but conditions really look good. And certainly that picture we're getting of the spectator fleet, it doesn't look like anybody's gone home. Knut, it's a pretty big spectator fleet out there.
It's a huge spectator fleet. I mean, it's you can all the way around the race course. You can see a lot of boats, in particular down here by the start, but also in the middle of the race course. And knowing the Brazilians, I'm sure they will keep following the fleet along the race course all the way up there.
All right, well, we'll keep our eye on that. Certainly some of the chop from the spectator fleet could be one of the tactical considerations in this race, Mark. But I think the local knowledge everyone's talking about is Torben Grail, of course, multiple Olympic medalist. He's in first place with his Ericsson 4 team here, and this is where he grew up. It's got to be a little bit daunting if you're facing those guys right now.
It does, but I think coming back to that point that the boats aren't that maneuverable, so you're locked into attack off the start line, and you really can't afford to do more than 2 or 3 up the beat. And so picking those tacks in the right place and taking advantage of local knowledge is pretty difficult, really. It's not an easy place to utilize, or boat or race format to utilize that local knowledge. So I'm kind of with Torben when he was saying, I mean, he may be just playing it down a little bit, trying to say he's not really the favorite yesterday in some of the interviews that were done with him, but I kind of think he has a point that yes, he has the local knowledge, but whether or not he can utilize it to his advantage on a format and boat like this is another question.
And of course, he's not the only one. His crew from the Olympic days, Marcelo Ferreira, he is on Delta Lloyd, and no doubt he'll be very, very helpful to the guys out there on Delta Lloyd. We're on Telefonica Black there. A good look at Roger Nielsen, Mark, into his media duties. He's got the headphones on and the camera in his hands.
That's right. Roger taking his new role with some enthusiasm there. He's got all the kit and he's looking for the shot. He's going to nail that media prize for Anton before he even leaves the dock for Lake Styx.
Well, Peter, Mark, just reporting here from the start line. Interesting now is that the bridge is slowly building as I speak, and we are right now at the sort of crossover between the Code Zero and the Genoa. And Telefonica Black is the first boat now to job steer Code Zero and going for the Genoa. Well, I'm pretty confident, as we always been, that Puma will stay with the Code Zero longer than everybody else. And what I'm interested to see if we get another copy or replay of those upwinds where Puma has been powdering away from the other guys, just having a bigger tail, and the other guys just don't have the right setup for these kind of conditions. So it looks like we're just in that crossover at the moment.
And that crossover may change as we go up the course, Knut, because obviously I think there's still probably a little bit more pressure at the top end of the windward mark, closer to the mouth of the bay than there is at the start line.
Yeah, I agree completely with you. As it's slowly filling in through the bay, probably we do have less breeze here at the start line and further up. So, but I would say that now we have Telefonica Black with Genoa only. We have Blue is still having the zero up, but no Genoa up, and it's only 6.5 minutes left to the start. And Delta Lloyd has both, and the Ericsson teams are both keeping both options open.
All right, Knut, we're on board with Puma right now. Kenny Reed is, you can see him just bring the boat around there now. They don't have any head sail unrolled, the Code Zero up and ready to be deployed. And Mark, Kenny Reed, of course, really tough day at the import race in Qingdao. Not one of his better days. He's got an incredible record in inshore racing generally, plenty of world championships to his name, but he wasn't on form in Qingdao. And again, he's another one who's going to be very, very keen to put that behind him and get some good results up.
That's right, and those bad races all stem from poor starts really in Qingdao. So the one thing Kenny will be looking for today is to absolutely nail this start. He'll want to come out off the line in good shape, and I think that so much of this race is going to be about the start. Light air, a lack of maneuverability, a short course. It's very, very important to come off the line in good shape. I think we did just catch a glimpse of the committee boat there with the course. It's set up for 190 true wind direction, so that is very much the sea breeze direction in Rio. That may fade a little bit back to the left towards the east again as it drops off this afternoon in the later stages of the race, if the race extends out more than an hour. But they're aiming for 50 minutes, and they set the course length of 1.6 miles, so we've got a reasonable amount of pressure, and I think we have every expectation of this race only taking the targeted 50 minutes.
All right, well, we can see Telefonica Blue, Ericsson 3 there, crossing swords with Telefonica Black behind. Coming up to the 5-minute gun, Knut.
2, 1, and that was the 5-minute gun, so now 5 minutes left to the start.
All right, and Mark, of course, quite rightly placing an awful lot of emphasis on how important these starts are, and it's very easy to stand here and say Kenny Reid had a bad day in Qingdao, but getting a good start with 7 of these boats on the line is not easy. It requires a fairly good plan, and more than that, really some fantastic execution by your crew, and that's what all of these guys will be looking at right now. What kind of a start are you expecting? You're out there with the start line. Is there any bias to the line? Does it look fairly square? Where do you think the guys are going to be?
Well, I would say that the start line is a little biased to me on the pin end, and Bill sort of normally likes to stick the line up that way and to avoid too many free starts. So it looks to me pretty biased on the pin end line, but I don't have any scientific measurement of it. But the interesting thing is the current. If you have a look at the start boat, if you can get a picture of the start boat, you'll see that it's anchored with a stern towards the breeze, which tells you that the current is most likely pushing you over the start line. So it's going to be fairly easy to have an early start here. And that's something you definitely don't want in this situation, where it could be that this is the only import race in Rio, and if you have an early start, you would know that the game is over. So the guys would have to be really careful in the start and not play that well, and obviously it's going to help with a pin and favored line, but clearly the current is something you have to watch out for here really carefully.
Well, we'll keep our eye on that, certainly as in the run-up to the start, which is just about 3.5 minutes away right now. We've got Green Dragon out there. They're out on the far right just now, but of course still plenty of time to change your mind ahead of the start here. Mark, the wind somewhere around 6 to 8 knots, somewhere in that range, or is it starting to get a bit stronger than that?
I think that's about right. There's a little bit of variation, as we said earlier, up the course. Just from our position on the terrace here, we can see the very top end of the course, and it looks pretty solid up there. So probably closer to the 7 to 8, maybe 5 to 6 at the bottom. Knut might be able to make a better call on that than us.
Yeah, guys, I think the breeze is actually a bit stronger than that. What just happened now is that even Puma dropped their code 0, and that's the first time I've seen them dropping it before other boats. And right now, I would say that all the boats are going for a general start, which is new. That really means that Puma believes that there is stronger breeze out there than what a code 0 could handle. So I think we're getting closer to 10 to 12 knot range, really, and it's looking really good from here. So at 2.5 minutes as we have now, we have all the boats with a general already, and the only boat that still has the code 0 up is actually Telefonica, and they have code 0 up now. That must be Telefonica Blue, as far as I can see, and that's the only boat I can see there with that setup.
Yeah, and we've got everybody gathering now down all on port, heading out towards the right-hand side of the starting box. Looks like they're all going to line the first early tackers here onto starboard, lining up to come back towards the committee boat. We're with Green Dragon right now, tacking in under Puma. So it looks with 2 minutes to go like this might be the final lineup here. We've just a shot there of Green Dragon tacking into leeward of Puma. It's Jerry Kirby, little adjustment on the foredeck there of that sail, getting it off the guardrails of the boat. 1 minute 45 to go. The light import race in Rio de Janeiro. And
there is Jerry Kirby on the foredeck of Puma. He'll be calling the line. I wonder how many times he's done that in his career.
I suspect that if he had $1 for all of them, he'd be a rich man.
Well, Kirby indeed filling in for Michi Mueller is taking a bit of an extended break here, but Jerry doing that long leg in to Rio, but I don't think he's anticipated to sail with the team a scheduled leg off for him when we do the restart next week. Knut, what are you seeing down there? We've got Green Dragon sandwiched in between Ericsson and Puma there.
Well, yeah, we have Puma here just to leeward of us. We have pin end, and Puma is now on port, just tacked over. And I assume they're going to aim at trying to get a pin end position. But it seems like everybody's quite far from the line. I mean, we just now had the 1 minute gun, pausing at 55 seconds left to the start. And in fact, they're quite far from the line. So it seems like everybody's very cautious about the current. But Delta Lloyd seems to be the closest boat to the line at the moment. And Puma has gone for port position. I mean, they're really sailing on port at the moment, and they're only 40 seconds away from the start. So if they go straight into attack there, they're going to start with very, very slow speed. Doesn't look like a very good start to me for Kenny Reed, really. It's already behind and has to cross behind the whole fleet there.
Yeah, we can see him looking like he's shaking off, and now it looks like he's needing to duck even behind Telefonica Blue there.
Yeah, he is, and he's Telefonica Blue is so far behind the line. It's only 15 seconds left to the start. Kenny has to really start far behind the line there. And on our position here on the pin is Green Dragon that is closest to the pin. And I would say that they have a really good start at the pin end on Green Dragon. And they're just luffing up as I speak, and all the fleet was clear, and Green Dragon came out really, really well there on the pin end.
I think the guy that's got a great start at the windward end is Ericsson 4 and Delta Lloyd as well there. But the advantage for Kenny is he's only crossing one boat length behind these guys. He's on port. He's going the right way in clear air. So I don't think Puma's going to come so badly out of this, because they'll do one tack to the ley line into the gate. They'll come back in on starboard with control. So I think Kenny might recover from that one quite comfortably further up the course here.
Well, we are underway after a postponement in the light import race in Rio. Racing now underway. Green Dragon on the left-hand side of the race. Puma out to the right. The other 5 boats in the fleet sandwiched in between. Also on the right-hand side, Delta Lloyd and Ericsson 4. A great start by Ian Walker at the pin end. And at the race committee boat end, it was Delta Lloyd just taking their transom Puma, but really, as Mark said, not very far behind. And with the freedom to sail in clean breeze, out in their own direction, out to the right-hand side of the race course. Knut, what are you seeing now from where you are?
Well, I'm just behind Ericsson 3. We're just trying to keep up with him here, and they're getting squeezed by Green Dragon. So Ericsson 3 is slowly falling in behind Green Dragon. But the difficulty for Ian Walker is that he can't really tack right now, because he's going to struggle to cross the head of anyone. So he's kind of locked in his position at the moment and has to wait for the weather boats to tack before him. But he's already killed the Ericsson 3, and Ericsson 3 will have to tack pretty soon because they can't live there. But then they have to cross behind the whole fleet. So I think the guys will just have to take it all the way out there to the ley line before they can be able to tack and get across anyone. So a beautiful start. First time we have seen the whole fleet really lined up on the line and getting off almost at the same time.
Well, indeed a fantastic start. Ian Walker locked out on the left-hand side after a great start at the pin end of the starting line. And of course, as Mark was describing the race course earlier, the boats have to converge again, not just at the top mark, but halfway up to the top mark. There's that mid-course gate that everybody has to squeeze through. And I think Ian Walker may find that unless he's able to get enough pace up where he feels comfortable tacking and crossing ahead of the rest of the fleet, he might be locked out there until all the way out to the ley line for that mid-course gate. Now, on the other side of the race course, Puma still the only ones to go out to the right-hand side, Mark. They're all on their own, and this is the hero or zero scenario. It looks like they're rolling into attack now. Yeah,
Puma tacking to starboard there. I think from the shot we've got on the track viewer, they've probably lined up pretty well for the gate here. They'll have starboard rights as they come back to the bunch, and so they don't have to pick a hole here. The guys are going to have to go around them. So it's going to be pretty interesting here as Kenny Reed comes back in on Puma to this bunch. I think right now, of the bunch, I'd say Green Dragon do still look in the best shape. The issue is whether or not they can get clear enough to get the tack. If Telefonica Black, and I think the other one that's punched out there is probably Ericsson 4 and Telefonica Blue, tack before the ley line. But I think if Ericsson 4, Torben Grail, and they're backing on Telefonica Blue choose to go all the way to the ley line, then the Green Dragon is going to have to follow them in.
Okay, so we'll set it up for you out to the right-hand side on their own. Puma Ocean Racing, Neil Mostro, Kenny Reed, a port tack start behind the fleet at the start, clear air and able to sail his own way the rest of the way. Leading the charge on the left, Green Dragon, and moving in from the left-hand side of the course. Well, they've got Ericsson 3 in behind them, and there's Green Dragon, Telefonica Black. We've got Telefonica Blue out there, Ericsson 4 and Delta Lloyd as well. So pretty crowded out on the left-hand side. Knut, you're out there. I think you're going up the left side of the race course. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm going up together with a few Telefonica boats and Green Dragon here, and to me they're looking pretty good. I mean, no doubt in my mind that Telefonica Blue has really pulled away from Ericsson 4. They were much closer at the start. So to me it looks like Torben is struggling to stay up to the weather position there. What is going to be interesting is obviously to see the crossing between Puma and Ericsson 3, because Puma is the only boat on the other side. But Ian Walker is struggling here with the two Telefonica boats. There's no way he can cross ahead of them. And it looks to me that the breeze has shifted right a little bit towards ley line here, because it's not looking half as good as it was 5 minutes ago. He's really really going to cross straight behind these guys without even having to duck them when it attacks now.
Yeah, I think what we can see on the viewer here is that Puma look really good on this right-hand side. I think you're right about the right-hand shift. They've been lifted up inside of everybody else, and that shift is what's trapped Green Dragon out on the left-hand corner. There's no way for them to get back across in front of those guys. So right now, Puma are looking pretty golden for this gate position at least.
Well, Kenny Reed, Il Mastro coming up now. They're going to cross ahead of Ericsson 3 in just a moment. Delta Lloyd, they've also tacked out the back of the fleet. So Ericsson 3 was kind of pushed out back by Green Dragon. The Ian Walker and the Dragons able to get on their air, force Ericsson 3 to tack. But what's interesting is by coming out here early, Ericsson 3 might not be that badly off compared to the rest of the fleet. We'll see how that shakes out at the gate, but certainly they're going to be behind Il Mastro and Puma. And here we go. We can see everybody rolling into attacks now.
Yeah, this is the attack. Only one boat's going to come out of this in good shape, and at the moment it looks like it may well be Telefonica Black if they can get across in front of Telefonica Blue. If they can't, and there's Blue rolling just round the stern of Telefonica Black there. So Telefonica Black in good shape there, really. They're on port. They're headed for the gate. They're in control of this group at the moment. I think Telefonica Blue has maybe had to overstand that ley line a little bit after they went round the stern of their sister ship. So only one boat's going to come out of this in good shape. Torben Grail actually has decided not to get too involved with the group. He's tacked early to leeward of everyone, so they'll be in pretty clear air. But of that leading group, I think it's Telefonica Black that's looking good.
Go ahead, Knut.
Hey, Mark. Yeah, it's incredible what happened here. I mean, basically, both the two Telefonica boats and Green Dragon sailed way over the ley line. So Ericsson 4 even had to bear away to get to the gate. And all the other guys are now reaching down to the gate mark, having sailed way past it. So that was...
Yeah, there was a problem for that entire group. They just got themselves pinned out on that left-hand side of the course, and Torben Gray was to windward of that group in a position to tack for the ley line. He's just skimmed on the tracker, the gate there, and gone through the gate, actually marginally in front of Puma. So at the moment we have Ericsson 4 coming out of that group in first place. Torben Grail, the maestro of Guanabara Bay, doing the magic. Really just a question of the tactical positioning off the line, giving himself the opportunity to tack, not getting pinned, coming away with enough clear air to get himself up to the gate in good shape. So we have Puma versus Ericsson 4 at this first cross, and at the moment on the tracker at least, it looks like it's Puma going to be ahead. So the port tack start is the winner right now.
Well, it looks like a real get-out-of-jail-free card for Torben and Ericsson 4 there with that big group of boats, Green Dragon, the two Telefonicas out there overstanding the gate, and that just allowed Ericsson 4 to come in. But Knut, we've got you back now. We apologize for the technical difficulties we're having maintaining the connection with you out on the water there. But, well, Ericsson 4 gets out of jail free with everybody else overstanding, Knut.
Yeah, no, everybody really went way too far there on the gate. And what happened was that Ericsson 4 and Torben kept pushing everybody. And as long as Torben didn't tack, they couldn't tack unless they really made a big bear away. So just smart tactical move by Torben there, and then basically pushing all the three others far above the ley line.
Okay, the other thing that's interesting to note, we saw Ericsson 3, and you talked about it, Knut. They were forced to tack very early on that leg behind everybody else as Green Dragon got on their breeze. So they've now the boat furthest to the right-hand side of the race course. And from their vantage point on the tracker, they don't look like they're doing too badly out there.
No, they're standing a little bit higher than Ericsson 4 in the middle of the channel, so I suspect that's probably a little bit better pressure, because you'd think there would be more south-going tide in the middle of the channel where Ericsson 4 are than where Ericsson 3 are over on this left-hand westerly shore, or right-hand westerly shore looking upwind. So there's something, they found something over here in this corner, and I think Ericsson 3 are going to come out of this in pretty good shape, actually. As always with these races, it all changes pretty fast, and you just need one puff with these boats, and changes the angle and the speed so fast that he can put you from 0 to hero and the other way around in a moment.
Well, we've got Puma mid-course now. In fact, they're switching sides and almost out to the left-hand side. We've got Ericsson 3 as the boat far on the right there. We're on board with Puma as they roll into attack. And they are in a pretty strong position mid-fleet here, Mark.
Yeah, I think right now you'd pick Puma and the two Ericsson boats to go around this buoy in the podium positions. The other guys really got themselves tangled up on that left-hand side before the gate. Green Dragon, the two Telefonica boats have all suffered pretty badly from that. So at the moment the front runners are Ericsson 3, Ericsson 4 and Puma. And if I had to put money on the order at the top, Mark, I'd probably say Ericsson 3, Puma, Ericsson 4. But it's a yacht race. Anything could happen.
And Knut, what are you seeing from out there? Is Magnus Olsen, boy, that crew's confident right now after their leg win in here. They're sailing really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ericsson 3 has gone all the way into the finish, and I think it's tucking as I speak. Before there is going to be obviously very informative. But I'm here still on the left side with a good Telefonica boat and Puma. And we still have solid breeze there. The big question is against more pressure now than actually the wind direction. You can see the breeze is more patchy. And to me, Puma is still looking pretty good out there.
Okay, well, the showdown looks like right now it's between Ericsson 3 and Puma. Ericsson 3, we're on board with them. They just tacked. They're coming in from the right-hand side. They're on starboard tack. The question mark, are they on the ley line?
Yeah, that's crucial for Ericsson 3 because if they have to put a second tack in here to get to this mark, then I think we can say that Puma will go around in front of them. But if they don't, they could be in good shape. They're certainly on starboard. Starboard right's here for Ericsson as they come into this mark, and it's just all about whether or not they've managed to call this ley line. Remember, they haven't got their frontline navigator on the job here. Axel Magdal is back in Norway, perhaps watching this on the net with the rest of us, and he'll be hoping his stand-in has nailed this ley line for Ericsson 3 to pick up the points here.
All right, Knut, from your position, you're out on the left-hand side of the course. I imagine you're getting close to that top mark in the rib there. How does Ericsson 3 look?
I would say that a good look, Peter. I'm just allured of Puma, so I'm just sort of pointing at Ericsson 3 there. Both with the wind direction. First, they are looking really good. I can't see from here if they are laying. Maybe you got to see at the tracker, but if they can lay from that position, they're obviously looking very good. But if they have to make 2 tacks there, that's going to hurt them big time.
Yeah, that is still the open question, and we'll follow that closely. They're not that far from the mark now, and we'll keep our eye on whether Ericsson 3 can lay it. In the middle of the course, Puma, they're coming in on port tack. Ericsson 3 on starboard. Let's just run it in from the right-hand side, Mark. We've got Delta Lloyd there, the boat furthest out to the right. Ericsson 4 and Ericsson 3. And then coming in on port tack, coming in from the left-hand side, leading the charge there is Puma. In behind them, straight downwind to them, is Telefonica Black. Telefonica Blue out to the left, and then poor old Green Dragon. Ian Walker nailed the start, but he wasn't in a very strong position tactically. Pushed out as the furthest left boat after the start.
That's right. That is the problem with the pin possession with these boats, that starboard tack has rights, and it's not part of the gate. Puma just tacking there, I think, under Ericsson 3. Is that correct, Knut?
Go ahead, Knut.
Yeah, Puma just had a beautiful lead out tack there on Ericsson 3, so both of those two boats are going to lay, and Puma is going to land the top mark first, although Ericsson 3 is going to have more speed than them. But clearly, first speed goes to Puma with a really nice recovery from Ericsson 3, so they're both around within a few seconds. And Puma obviously being the first having the upper hand.
It's interesting that the two leaders round this mark are the two boats that got onto port tack first. Basically, Puma off the line, Ericsson 3 bailed very quickly from the group, headed away on starboard. And these are the two boats that are going to...
Puma goes around there. There we have Ericsson 3 rounding, and both on the chutes up pretty fast. Similar good hoisting. Good recovery as well from Telefonica. We'll say that Blue has caught up with E4 quite a bit of distance, although they still have this pack, so much closer now than they were last time they were left each other.
Okay, so around the top mark, it's Puma leading the charge just with a late lee bow tack inside Ericsson 3. Ericsson 3 in second place around. Great spinnaker hoist by both crews, and both looking very strong around there. Mark?
And I think what we see there is Ericsson 3 came in a little above that ley line with plenty of pace and plenty of speed, and they've ridden that speed down inside Puma really nicely. So Puma did the lee bow tack beautifully to get round the mark first, but they didn't quite have time to build the same speed as Ericsson 3, and now the Nordics have got inside them. Unfortunately, they've got nowhere to go. They're looking over the shoulder from the wheel there on Ericsson 3, the boat we're riding with at the moment. He clearly would like to jibe away, but I don't think they can because of the pack behind them. They've fallen into Puma's dirt, and Puma have now got the puff and they're accelerated away.
All right, so around the top mark, we've got Puma, followed by Ericsson 3. Then it's Ericsson 4, Telefonica Black, Telefonica Blue are the next ones around. And as we keep going downwind now, it's going to be followed by Green Dragon, Delta Lloyd, all the way to the back of the fleet for poor old Green Dragon there. So a nice run by Ian Walker at the start, but a very tough first leg for him. as they go around the top mark. Nobody's jibed yet, Mark, but it looks like that's not going to be very long away because they do still, of course, have to worry about that mid-course gate.
That's right. They've got to get back through this gate again, and they are fighting tide here on this leg. So you would imagine that the edges of the race course are going to be a little bit more preferable on this downwind leg than the upwind leg because they will actually be able to get out of the tide onto the edges of the course. So we see Puma leading Ericsson 3, still with Ericsson 3 here. They have taken their speed up and a little bit more height than Puma now. They obviously decided the lured track wasn't working for them, and we saw them fall into Puma's gas. Now they're taking it up high, seeing if there's a route through over the top here. And we've moved to the tracker, so we can see that we do have a jiber, Pete. Telefonica Black has decided to get out of there, and they're headed down towards the right-hand side of the course looking upwind.
So close action at the back of the fleet. Delta Lloyd, Green Dragon, Telefonica Black, and it's Fernando Echevarri and his crew jibing out first. They're the first boat to make a break back towards the middle of the race course. At the head of the fleet, well, it's still Puma, and followed very closely by Ericsson 3. Ericsson 4 is starting to just get in, maybe taking a line down a little bit inside them. Knut, I think we've got you back up now. Tell us what you're seeing from down at water level on the race course.
Yeah, Ericsson 4 just dived, and I saw a little shift there. I must say that if there's any place and time where Torben is an expert, he's sailing downwind in this bay. I was training with him here quite a few times, and although sometimes he makes mistakes upwind, downwind, he's a really rock star when it comes to the manning the ship. So he dived here first of the leading pack, and it's now heading down towards the gate on port jive. And Ericsson 3 and Puma just jived as well at the same time. So it's going to be interesting. And to me, it looks like Telefonica Black has less pressure in there, but you guys can probably see that on the tracker better than I can.
Yeah, I don't think Telefonica Black looks anything special on the tracker right now. Ericsson 4 just look like they're laying the gate. Telefonica Black isn't. So everybody who's jibing after Ericsson 4 should get down in one now through the gate on port. And we see most of the fleet now on port. I think from left to right we have Telefonica Black, Ericsson 4, Ericsson 3 and Puma on port. Green Dragon just jibed in Ericsson 4's track, and that just leaves Delta Lloyd and Telefonica Blue, I think, on starboard at this stage.
Well, it's still Puma at the head of the fleet, very close with Ericsson 3, though. Both close in terms of distance to the next mark and physically close on the race course. There's only about a boat length between these guys, lateral separation. Simultaneous jives, kind of America's Cup style there, Mark, when they both went into a jibe.
That's right. It's a much stronger performance in the inshores from Ericsson 3 than we've seen before. They've had some pretty average days on the import race, and they need to sort that spinnaker out. We can see in this picture here now that thing's been bluffing for some time, and you can see Puma's just sailed probably 2 or 3 lengths away from them in that period. They've just, I don't know what happened there, whether they just overran the breeze, they hit a light spot, or they just got out of whack with the trim, but they've lost a massive distance there on Ericsson 3 in the space of the time that I've been talking.
Well, Ericsson 3 dropping back a little bit from Puma there, Knut, but Ericsson 4, they're a little bit more mid-course, and they're also looking like they're doing pretty well right now, Knut. No, we're not having Knut answer back. I think we still have that connection.
I'm here, Peter. I didn't hear your question, sorry.
Sorry, just saying Ericsson 4 in the middle of the course, they look like they're doing strong, and it looks like they're going to lay that gate.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have to lay the gate. It seems like the breeze is really coming out in patches here, so you have to find a patch that stays. So that Ericsson 3 just had a big hole and went far behind Puma, but it's still good breeze here with Puma and Ericsson 3, and it's still pretty solid pressure. So it's going to be interesting to see the first cross with Torben and Puma, but it will really depend on the pressure he gets down if he manages to lay that gate. And you guys can probably see that on the tracker, but to me it looks going to lay the gate. Yeah,
I think we agree with that on the tracker, Knut. That Ericsson 4 are actually getting down inside the right-hand side of the gate, looking upwind. So on port, sailing down through here with, I think, Ericsson 4 there now. That's still solid just before the wheel on the port side, so that's definitely Ericsson 4. And at some point, once they get through this gate, then they've got a big jibe coming up. They've really got to pick their moment when they go across to Puma. If they can catch them on starboard, then they can unsettle this before the lure gate.
Yeah. We have that Telefonica Black coming out on the beach, and the distance between them and then Green Dragon and the other guys seems to be a bit longer. I think Telefonica Black has done it right there. But, looking behind me, I see Telefonica Blue, as we have seen in all these other import races, have managed to sail lower. That's a huge gain for them if they can keep the pressure on that side of the race course.
Yeah, that's a good observation, Knut, and it's something that we can see on the tracker here as well. They just seem to be sailing either in completely different wind, or else the way they've got the boat configured, they can just sail a little bit lower than the others, and of course that translates into less distance sailed. And if you can do that, you're always going to be making gains. It looks like coming out to the gate, Mark, it's going to be very close to call whether it's actually Ericsson 4 or Puma who goes through first. But I still think Puma's maybe in a slightly better position in terms of where they are on the race course.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Pete. I think if we look from on the tracker from left to right, you see that the guys on the right-hand side, Telefonica Blue and Delta Lloyd, are going a little bit lower than the guys on the left, Ericsson 4 and Telefonica Black. So I think there's better pressure on that side, on the Delta Lloyd Telefonica Blue side, and they're making the gains at the moment. Puma nicely situated in the middle, so whichever way it goes from here, they should have the opportunity to keep themselves in the top three at this bottom gate.
All right, well, through the gate, the mid-course gate, it was pretty much simultaneously Puma and Ericsson 4, and coming up behind them, well, we've got Ericsson 3 not very far behind Puma. And then way out on the left-hand side of the race course, it's Telefonica Blue and Delta Lloyd. Near the other side of the course, we've got Telefonica Black and Green Dragon, still very close behind those back markers in the race. There's not very much to choose between Tele Black, Green Dragon, and Delta Lloyd right now, but we'll see how that translates when they come out to that leeward gate. Knut, where are you on the race course, and what are you seeing from where you are?
Well, I'm just behind Ericsson 3, and I'm sitting here looking at Telefonica Blue, wondering where I would be, and I think they're in a very good position down there. They have had a nice shift, or they're able to sail lower, but the interesting thing is Delta Lloyd has managed to keep the same lane behind him to leeward. And to me, it looks like Torben still has pressure there, but the angle to him from here looks like it's shifted. So I think Torben, if he drives now, goes to the bid land there, he will be behind at least Puma. It must be.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Looking at it on the tracker, Knut, I think this the Tele Blue side of the course is really coming good for them at the moment. They're almost going straight down to the leeward gate right now. Certainly Delta Lloyd is on a comfortable lay line from where they went through the mid-course gate. So this side of the course has really come good, and I think we're going to see Telefonica Blue in this top three at the bottom mark here without any trouble at all at the moment.
All right, well, in the middle of the race course, it is Il Mostro, Puma, Kenny Reed. He was behind everybody at the start. He did a port tack start, meant he had to duck behind everybody, but he only hit that starting line maybe a boat length behind, if that, because he really did hit it with pace. Went out to the right-hand side of the race course up that beat, and that really paid off. Il Mostro was able to sneak around first just with a late tack inside Ericsson 3. They've kind of held that lead right now, it looks like, but they're being attacked on both sides, Mark. We've got Ericsson 4 out to the far right-hand side of the race course if you're looking upwind. On the other side, the left-hand side, looking upwind, Telefonica Blue really making a bit of a charge from well back in the fleet.
Yeah, that's right. That side of the course is still looking good as we creep down now into the bottom half of this distance between the gate and the mid-course gate and the leeward gate. It's not far to go now, and Telefonica Blue still look like they're laying. So they're going to save a jibe here over everybody on the other side of them, which is Puma, Ericsson 3, Ericsson 4, Telefonica Black, and Green Dragon. So these two guys on this side of the course, Telefonica Blue and Delta Lloyd, are the guys that have made the big gain in this bottom half of the course.
Well, Torben Grail, he's out on the far right-hand side of your race course when you're looking upwind. He's going to need to jibe soon, but I don't even know if he jibed now, whether he'd make that gate. Well, he must know better than us because he is jibing right now. Knut?
Yeah, I was just going to say that Torben just jibed there, and you can see right away after the jibe, he's clearly behind Puma. And doesn't come out of that bay with a very good angle. It's going to take you some time to build the speed. And from my position, I'm halfway between Puma and Telefonica Blue now. I think Blue is clearly getting the mark, the bottom mark, which means she has no more jibes to go. And we must be looking in a very, very good position. I would be pretty happy if I was Bowie there, thinking about the position he had at the top mark.
Yeah, Bow will be very happy. We've got a great shot here of the cross coming up between Ericsson 4, and they're actually having to duck quite hard to get round behind Ericsson 3, who's jibing. I think the Ericsson 3 boys are going to jibe themselves into a whole world of trouble there, actually. Ericsson 4 is going to go right over the top of them.
So have to jibe there, and Puma came out of the jibe with the keel really far to leeward. This could be something that they have been training on, but they really stopped there, and Q4 is almost running over them. So that's a good recovery from Torben there. Basically a very poor jibe on the E3 guys, terrible. And they came out with a keel to weather, which means the boat stopped stand still. But Puma managed to handle that much better and still keep their position ahead. But the big winner of the downwind here is obviously Bowie Becking and Telefonica Blue, with an old friend of mine, Luis the rest on the tactician. So, no, sorry, he's on Telefonica Black, isn't he?
He is on black, but on the blue boat we've got Bowie Becking making the calls, Iker Martinez steering. But then behind them, Delta Lloyd, and this is going to be interesting because it looks to our eye on the tracker, Mark, that Telly Blue is probably going to be clear ahead. But what's going to happen with Delta Lloyd and the rest of this big group coming in from the right-hand side of the race course?
Delta Lloyd need to pick their moment here because they're coming in on port and they've got 2 or 3 boats coming in on starboard that they have to avoid coming into this leeward gate. So it's interesting to see which side they're going to pick. I mean, Puma did nicely on the first beat on the right-hand side looking upwind, which means that they would want to do one jibe if they wanted to repeat that and go for the right-hand mark looking upwind, in which case that may give Delta Lloyd the opportunity to take the other mark. Now, the question is whether or not Puma game simply because they had clear air and freedom to tack when they wanted, or whether they game because that side of the course was a little bit better. Having said that, looking at this last run with Telefonica Blue just dropping the chute around here, it looks like all the pressure is on the left-hand side of the course. So, and that's the way Telefonica Blue is going. Becking's made that decision. He's just dropped and jived. He's going to go around the left-hand mark, but left-hand gate mark looking upwind, and go back up the side. He's just come down with all the breeze to take the lead.
Well, what a run for Telefonica Blue, Canute, from middle of the pack to a pretty comfortable lead. Talk us through what you're seeing out there now.
Well, what I'm seeing is that Delta Lloyd managed to just sneak in front of the 2 Ericsson boats. Unbelievable. That was a very close call from Chuni Bermudez there, because he was hard in front of them and he came on port and really had to give way. But he managed to do it, and he is the second boat around that mark after Telefonica Blue. And the other thing I can inform you is that the race course has changed, so there's a course change on the upwind mark, and I assume that will be shifting the mark to the right, as it's been a right-hand shift there which has taken Telefonica on that ride they had on this run. So Delta Lloyd is the second boat on the beat. Fantastic recovery from them, and really a lot of fun to see those guys up in front. And then Puma is just rounding now almost simultaneously with Torben on different marks, though. Puma being on the inshore mark, and then Torben being on the offshore mark.
And Puma have picked the clean lane again, Knut. They've gone round that same side. They're all on their own in clear area, whereas there's a huge gaggle of boats going around that left-hand mark looking upwind. I mean, Delta Lloyd probably got round clear. Telefonica Blue obviously in the leader well clear, but Ericsson 4, Ericsson 3, and it looks like Telefonica Black are going around that one as well. All of them are going to be sitting in dirt as they go up this beat.
Okay, Canute, we'll come to you in just a second. We'll just do a quick run through Telefonica Blue, Delta Lloyd, and Puma. Those are your top 3 through that leeward gate. They're followed by, very quickly, by Ericsson 4, Ericsson 3. Right now we've got Green Dragon, Telefonica Black going around at just about the same time. So really tight action and close action, but the real news on that run is Telefonica Blue, Delta Lloyd going down the left-hand side of the race course when you're looking upwind. Telefonica Blue, they were mid-pack at the top. They go around first. Delta Lloyd was well back in the fleet. They go around second. Really great recovery on board both of those boats. And now a big split, Mark. We've got Puma going up the right-hand side, Tele Blue and Delta Lloyd out the left.
Yeah, and I think those 2, Telefonica Blue and Delta Lloyd, will carry on that way. That's where the pressure was downwind, and there's every likelihood that that's where the breeze is going upwind as well. So I see no reason for those guys to tack off. Puma are potentially going the wrong way breeze-wise, but at least they've got clear air, and that's a lot more than you can say for the 2 Ericsson boats. They were the big loser on that run. They both of them were in really good shape at the top mark, and now they're in a whole world of trouble. So Puma, we're just with Puma now, tacking it to starboard, and probably ley line for maybe the bottom third of the gate to the left-hand side. So it looks like Puma have lined that gate up pretty nicely.
Well, a nice tack there on board Il Mostro, the team led by Kenny Reed, of course, and they'll be hoping they can get back into contention. Telefonica Blue, wow, what a recovery. Now remember, these guys, they won legs 3 and legs 4. They had a shocker on leg 5, but and they won the import race in Alicante. This is a boat that can put up the numbers, and it certainly looks like they're making a run at it now. Canute, where are you on the race course, and what are you seeing from your vantage point? Because we're still seeing a fairly big split here with Tele Blue on the far left.
Well, we have decided to go on the right-hand side of the course this time, so we are right in between Green Dragon and Puma. And interesting thing is that to me, Puma is looking really bowed down on starboard. So they're not looking as flush as they did last time. And Torben tacked back right away when he saw Puma attacking, because Puma came up pretty low on that one. So all the boats are in starboard, and I would say still Puma is looking good just from the fact that she had clear air all the time. But she's certainly looking a bit bowed down to me. It's not the right-hand shift here, although she does have good pressure. At the same time, we have to remember the new upwind mark is most likely to the right of the old one. So it's a little bit of a different race course we're looking at.
Yeah, Telefonica Blue are still well in control of this race. I think they're about to go through this gate on starboard. And as I say that, are they rolling into attack? No, it's just a helicopter angle changing. So Telefonica Blue about to go through this gate on starboard attack in total control of this fleet. I think there is better pressure on that side of the course. On the tracker, it's clear that Puma are not sailing as high as Telefonica Blue, and I suspect that that's either pressure or direction, one of the two, probably pressure. Certainly there was less breeze down that side of the course on the run. So we can see Telefonica Blue in really good shape here. They're moving well through the water, in total control of this race right now.
Well, a great result so far, as we're coming up to being 3/4 of the way through the first race here. There were 2 races scheduled today. I think we're only going to get one in, unfortunately, after that long postponement in the light import race here in Rio de Janeiro. And Bauer Becking and Iker Martinez, their Telefonica Blue team, really looking strong. The other ones who are looking fantastic out here is Chuni Bermudas on Delta Lloyd. Now remember, these guys, they have had a little bit of time to practice here compared to the other boats that sailed in that leg. But this is a team that really was still put together very soon before the start of the race. They're really having to make up for lost time. And being in second place here, Mark, it would be their best result by far, and certainly a great result by any measure.
And I think it shows that they're going to be contenders from here on in. I mean, as you said, the program started very late, but they've had a couple of months now, really, to put everything together and get it all straight and get it sorted. And you can see the advantage that's given them. These guys aren't tired. Everyone was thin when they walked up that lake. A lot of muscle wastage on the guys on the rest of the boats, and these boats and Delta Lloyd have been in the gym for 2 months working hard, and you can see that they're really gunning for it right now.
All right, well, Canute, we have a cross coming up here with Puma and Delta Lloyd. I imagine from where you said you were on the race course, you might be right in between them. What do you see?
Well, I'm actually just behind Puma now. It's a bit hard for me to see that crossing, but it looks to me that Puma is going to have that one, but I'm too far away to really see it. But the interesting thing is that there is good pressure. The pressure is building, and something happened with Ericsson 3 there. They are taking a 360. I'm not exactly sure what happened. But they got a penalty, Ericsson 3 port starboard with one of the boats, and I missed that incident completely. So Ericsson 3 just finished their penalty and are now back in the race again.
Yeah, I think there was a lee bow tack that was probably a little bit too close from looking at the track on the track viewer, Canute. Not long after they tagged under Telly Black, they started doing those circles. So I think that's ruined Ericsson 3's day. They were doing so well up that first beat. They literally looked like they got the hang of this import racing thing, but unfortunately now they are going to be right at the back of this pack at the top mark.
Now, Mark, the other boat I've got my eye on, considering that downwind leg, is Green Dragon, who look like they may be coming from a long way back. They obviously, they'll have a nice little gain here with the Ericsson 3 penalty, but I'm not too sure that they haven't also made a bit of a move maybe on Telefonica Black as well.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Pete. And we should just say that Puma won that cross with Delta Lloyd. So at the moment we have Telefonica Blue, Puma, and then Delta Lloyd. But Puma potentially have 2 tacks to get around this top mark, and Delta Lloyd only have the 1. So that situation could easily be reversed before the top mark. But the Green Dragon here is in shape for a 5th place around this mark. I don't see her catching Ericsson 4 before the top mark, but who knows? It's pretty puffy out there.
It is pretty puffy. That helicopter shot really shows it and illustrates it. You can see the dark patches on the water. Well, that's where the puffs of wind are. The light patches are the ones you want to avoid, and you don't need to be Torben Grail to know that.
No, that's right. That's dead right. And so we've got a great shot there of Telefonica Blue leading this fleet up towards the windward mark. They're probably not far from LA line. I don't think they'll have too much to go. No, we can just have a quick look on the tracker there, and on that port tack, they're not coming in far from this windward mark at all. So Telefonica Blue should now comfortably lead around this top mark. They're in complete control of the fleet, really, on the ley line, on port, with a good distance between them and the chasing Puma.
Well, a great race here by Iker Martinez, co-skippering Telefonica Blue with Bauer Becking. Really nice performance out there today. Delta Lloyd as well, tuning Bermuda as well. What a run. And it'll be interesting to see Knut. I think you've sailed with both of these guys, but what happens if Marcelo Ferreira gets the better of Torben Grail here today?
Well, I can tell you he will make that well known in Rio very quickly. It's not the man of few words, so he'll I'm sure the rest of Rio knows exactly what happened this day if that happens. But to me, it looks like we had a very light patch of breeze on the left side of the race course for a while, and the Telefonica Black in the E4 was looking very upright. And I have a feeling that Ericsson 4 has lost quite a bit of distance to Puma, but it's going to be interesting to see the next move from Delta Lloyd, now being the most inside boat. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled up a little bit more on Puma, actually.
Yeah, I think Delta Lloyd have a good shot at going around this top mark in second place, actually. Puma have tacked. They're all on port now. The whole fleet's on port, headed up towards this top mark. And I think Delta Lloyd are at least the same height, maybe a little higher than Puma at the moment.
Well, Telefonica Blue is still looking like they are in control of this race. There's going to be a real tussle here for second place around the top mark. This is the second lap of the race course, second and final lap. After this, it's all downhill to the finish line, and we will see Telefonica Blue going around this top mark first. Knut, the one thing that they have to do by the lane that they pick, it's a tack set in terms of getting the spinnaker going. We've just lost Knut there for a second. We'll get back to him in just a moment. But Mark, Telefonica Blue, it's a tough call for the crew here, because they're really going to be asked to perform as they do this tack set around the top mark. Yeah, they need to get this one right, that's for sure. They've got plenty on at this top mark. You can just see it on the left-hand side of the picture there at the moment, the top mark, so not far. They got the guy on the bow here, the sails up there, they're all ready to go. And it's just if they can execute this cleanly, then I think they could sail away with this light import race in Rio. All right, well, it'll be an interesting thing to watch, and we're going to stay on Telefonica Blue here just for an extra moment as they go around the top mark. We'll get them doing the spinnaker hoist as they go around. And there they go, leading at the second top mark, rounding just down to the finish line now. You can see them working those handles. Remember, these boats aren't really designed to do these short course racing. They're not America's Cup yachts. They're not TP52s. They're meant to be offshore. And to make them go around these short race courses requires an awful lot of brute force, Mark. Yep, they've done that in good shape, though. Telefonica Blue are getting away with that nicely. And we just have Puma lining up her tack there. I'm not sure where they are in relation to Delta Lloyd. Can't see Delta Lloyd in that picture, but I think Puma might well be second round here. Set up for the hoist. They can't be far from the mark, so I think we're going to see Puma go around this boy in second place here. Knut, you're out there. You can see Puma going around. Delta Lloyd not very far behind and coming up with speed.
Well, absolutely, Delta Lloyd is definitely going to be the third boat, and not only is E4 behind them, but E4 also have to make a tack there to get around the mark. So quite a big distance going to be between Delta Lloyd and Ericsson 4 before Ericsson 4 is well off there. But clearly Delta Lloyd have lost some distance compared to Ericsson 4, so they'll have to fight really hard to get down to the finish line in front of them. It's going to be an amazing fight now between these boats, because if we could get Delta Lloyd there on third place, it would be a major achievement for them. All right, we're just going to run through those top three going around the top mark for the second and final time. It's Telefonica Blue. Mark, they're running away with this race. We'll come to you in a second with that, but they've got a nice lead over both Puma and Delta Lloyd. And now it's Ericsson 4 also around in fourth place. And a chance here, maybe, Mark, for Telefonica Blue with a few boats in between to make up some points on the race leader, Ericsson 4, if these current results hold. That's right. They'll be really happy about this setup right now, and pretty anxious that they get this race across the line in the same order that it's in at the moment. They'll be cheering Delta Lloyd on here to just give them that extra half point back on Ericsson 4 if they can get through the finish line in front of them. Telefonica Blue looking in great shape here. From the view on the tracker, they are actually laying down in towards this gate now. That's Telefonica Black we're just looking at there, though, on the picture. They are just going around this mark, and I think they are just behind Green Dragons, so Telefonica Black picking up last place at the moment here. No, I'm sorry, we've still got Ericsson 3. You can see them coming in from the right hand of that frame.
course, Ericsson 3 did that 360 for the port starboard incident, the tack too close to Telefonica Black on the beat.
Okay, so that is your fleet heading downwind for the final time towards the finish line, and they are really all in a nice row here. Telefonica Blue, followed by Puma. Then we've got Delta Lloyd, Ericsson 4 not very far behind. We've got Green Dragon, Telefonica Black, and Ericsson 3. They were the winners into Rio, but they're not going to be the winners of the import race here. Magnus Olsen and his crew still struggling a little bit with the import races, and Knut, that's really a case where the younger and maybe less experienced crew on Ericsson 3 offshore, they seem to be able to overcome that more easily than they can with the short course racing.
Well, yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, the guys they have on that boat are actually more inshore experienced than offshore experienced. I mean, they have a Olympic 49er gold medalist steering the boat, and he should be familiar with short race courses. So, but I think that they haven't got the pieces in the puzzle at the right place. It's really clear that they have to make some changes on that boat, because it's been a repeating performance now again and again, and they were pretty much up there, and then they make some good mistakes along the race that really took them out of the competition.
Yeah, that one unraveled for them, where they lost control of the spinnaker on the gust or the light spot that they hit when they were sailing in Puma's trail. But they looked so uncertain before that as well. The constant looks over the shoulder from the helmsman. They couldn't decide whether to try and go to leeward of Puma, to jive away, or to go to windward of them. It didn't look like the communication between the tactician and the helmsman, and the decision-making process was working really smoothly. And then when they hit that problem and they lost the chute downwind, lost 2 or 3 lengths, and all of a sudden they were in a whole load of trouble.
Well, the closest battle on the race course right now is the one for third place. I think that's the one I've got my eye on. Delta Lloyd currently has it, and you know that Torben Grail and Ericsson 4, well, they definitely want it, and there's not an awful lot of distance between the two of them. Knut, are you close to that? Can you see what's going on there between Delta Lloyd and Ericsson 4?
Yeah, I've been looking at them, Peter, for a while, and to me it looks like Delta Lloyd is managing to keep the distance pretty much steady. Although Ericsson 4 has worked themselves down to leeward a little bit of their line. The same thing is happening behind them, and it's difficult to say, but if anything, I would say that Ericsson is it's the same distance as on the top part. But obviously what happens now with the breeze and wind direction is going to be very, very important here, because if the breeze does anything left for these guys, Delta Lloyd is going to struggle to drive and cross Ericsson 4. If it stays like this and goes right, Delta Lloyd will probably be able to drive and cross there.
Okay, well, we apologize. We just lost the cell phone contact with Knut there, but we're on board with the race leader, with Telefonica Blue looking back. We've got a great helicopter shot there, Mark. We've got the whole fleet in shot, and you can really see that gap that's opened up between Telefonica Blue and Puma, and then back to the rest of the fleet.
That's right. It's that middle group where all the action is right now. Delta Lloyd, Ericsson 4, and Green Dragon. And we're on Ericsson 4 now, and we can see Green Dragon not far off their stern. So there's plenty on for all 3 of these boats. There's places to be taken in this little middle group. I think we're going to see Telefonica Black or Ericsson 3 get back into the action. I'd be surprised if Telefonica Blue and Puma get caught. The real battle here is for that third place on the podium, I think.
Well, Knut, we'll come back to you now. I know we've got you up here, and that middle group, that bunch, Ericsson 4. We've got Green Dragon in the mix, Delta Lloyd, really close action there, and that's really the fight is for that third place.
I mean, in the situation we have there now, where with 4 boats this close together, you could almost argue that any one of them can pull this off, because if one is going to start passing the other and create some wind shadow. We just have Telefonica Black now driving, and that's the first one of that back group to drive. And the breeze is definitely dying off here. I feel it's a lot less pressure where we are. So something is going to happen with the breeze, and that's going to create opportunities. Now Ericsson 4 is driving. First of them, that pack for third place. Green Dragon drives at the same time at Ericsson 4, and now Delta Lloyd is on their own, continuing. So, well, that's going to make it interesting, because now Delta Lloyd is leaving the 3 guys behind them. So that's going to open up an opportunity.
Well, a little bit of separation there maybe for Chuni and Delta Lloyd. They're continuing out towards the left-hand side of the race course as you look upwind. Ahead of them, Telefonica Blue, Mark. They've just gone through that mid-course gate. They're just about home, just a half of a leg to go. They'll be crossing the finish line. It looks like they're not going to be caught. Puma, they've also opened up a bit of a gap with second place, but boy, it's really close with the others.
That's right. I think Delta Lloyd have chosen to back the side that they made all the gains on the last run. They kept on going out to this left-hand side looking upwind. They're going to go right through the edge of that gate where they found the pressure last time and got in such good shape, and I can't say I really blame them for that call.
Go ahead, Knut.
Hey, Mark. Yeah, no, I'm interesting here. I'm just behind Green Dragon, and they're almost rolling Ericsson 4 here after the jibe. So there's some pressure that's filling in from behind, and Telefonica Black is bringing that pressure with them down, and E4 really got caught there to lure of Green Dragon. So something has happened with the breeze, as I said. It died on the side, and then there will be a new patch filling in from behind, which creates opportunities. So really risky to be in the front in a so tightly packed group, and you have patchy breeze.
And I think the other thing that we can see on the tracker there, Knut, is that the tracks of those guys on the left-hand side looking upwind, that is Telefonica Blue, Puma and Delta Lloyd, is a lot lower than the guys over on the right-hand side of the course looking upwind, that is Ericsson 4, Green Dragon, Telefonica Black. So there may be pressure there, and we can see those three boats, how close they are on that helicopter, fantastic helicopter shot there. Maybe pressure on that side, but doesn't look like the angle is as good as they've got, as Telefonica Blue, Puma and Delta Lloyd have got.
I agree completely with you, Mark. And the great thing for Delta Lloyd now is that if Ericsson 4 is almost forced to sail a little bit higher than they want to, because they need to keep the pace up and not getting rolled by Green Dragon, which means that all the three boats, Green Dragon, Ericsson 4 and Telefonica Black, will most likely sail a little bit higher than they wanted to and end up closer to the beach earlier than they want to. So that's really good for Delta Lloyd if they can manage to keep the pressure down there to leeward.
Yeah, I think they're handing Delta Lloyd this third place on the podium here right now with this battle that's going on with the three. Ericsson 4 choosing to try and jibe with those guys that went behind them and just put themselves into a battle that they're really struggling to win here. And I think they've left Delta Lloyd alone to go off and take this third place on the podium.
Certainly through that mid-course gate, Delta Lloyd with a reasonable advantage over Ericsson 4, but there is a lot of lateral separation there. We just need a bit of a change in pressure or a wind shift, and things could all turn around very, very quickly. But Knut, Telefonica Blue, they look like they're home and cooled. Puma also looking very safe with second place, but really the fight is behind those places third, fourth, and fifth, even all the way back to sixth with Telefonica Black. Still seems fairly open.
Well, I can tell you one thing interesting that happened is that Green Dragon jived together with Telefonica Black, and Black now jived back as they got covered by Green Dragon. But now it's only Telefonica Black and Ericsson 4 that's continuing close to the land, and the interesting thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if Green Dragon has a shot here on Torben, because if they keep doing what they're doing right now, they're lining up behind Delta Lloyd most likely, and the same thing happens again what happened on the previous run. Torben could be struggling for that fourth place.
Yeah, we can see very clearly on the tracker the distance that Delta Lloyd has made over that group. She was right with the group of Green Dragon and Ericsson 4 when they jibed away. Now she's comfortably in third place all on her own, and I think the Dragon heading over that side towards Delta Lloyd, that's the way I'd be going if I was on Ian Walker's boat, and I think you're absolutely right. They've got a shot at fourth place here, which would be a fantastic recovery from the shape they were in when they went through the gate the first time.
Well, Telefonica Blue not very far from the finishing line, a few minutes to go yet, and really winning this race on the first run. When they came down that left-hand side of the race course, you're looking upwind, their right-hand side on the run. Them and Delta Lloyd, they were the ones who made the big move to that side, and it paid off in spades, coming back from mid-fleet to lead through the gate. They've held that lead ever since. Puma, they've been in pretty good shape for the entire race. They've been at or near the front for the entire race, really since the start, Mark. They started behind everybody, but only by a little bit, and they sailed their own way out to the right-hand side early.
Yeah, that was a nice strategy from Ken Reid. He started on port, looked for the lane. He was lucky that Delta Lloyd made a good on-time start. If Delta Lloyd had been late at the boat, then he would have been in a world of trouble. But Delta Lloyd made a fantastic start on starboard, right on time. And Kenny only had to cross a boat length behind him at full speed and into clean air in his own lane and control of his own race, which they've maintained all the way through here. Puma have done a really tidy job today. They haven't relied on the puff, the miracle puff that got Telefonica Blue and Delta Lloyd back into it. They've sailed a good, clean race, and they'll very much deserve that second place, I think.
And Delta Lloyd currently looking pretty good in third place. Ericsson 4, well, they've been everywhere this race. They've sort of been near the head of the fleet, but they've never actually quite got there. And so much for the home court advantage for Torben Grail. Mark, as you said earlier, maybe boat handling and just finding your lane and getting a good start is really the key on these short courses with these big boats.
And there's a certain amount of randomness about it. I mean, it's a tight course. You go in one way, you can't afford to tack too often. If you happen to be going the wrong way when the puff comes in behind you and rolls the other guys down to you, then that's it. It's a job done, and not much you can do about it.
That being said, Knut, I'm going to come to you now out on the race course because Delta Lloyd and Ericsson 4 looks like they are sailing with pretty good pace out on that right-hand side of the race course.
Torben is just now driving, Peter. So now we're going to see the interesting crossing. He has had good pressure in the end there, and to me it looks like Green Dragon went a little too far behind Delta Lloyd, because the guys in front of them are almost laying the finish line, so going this far was really unnecessary. But unfortunately for Green Dragon, I think Ericsson 4 is still going to be in front, so that's good of Torben. The good and interesting crossing now is going to be Delta Lloyd and Ericsson 4.
All right, well, up at the front of the fleet, Telefonica Blue just going across the finish line. That's Spinnaker coming down now as great work by Iker Martinez, Bauer Becking, the entire Telefonica Blue crew. They have won the light import race here, and the first of 2 scheduled races. We'll wait till this is over before we confirm whether we're just having the one race today with that late start. But Telefonica Blue across the line, home and cooled. A great performance by the guys on blue now. Puma's going to be next, and a really close cross, it looks like, Knut, with Delta Lloyd and Ericsson 4.
I can tell you this is a very close call. This is a very close call. It's not clear if they're going to be ahead. It's a very close call for starboard. I'm just behind them, so we will see what happens there. I think they're going to make it, but they're struggling. Oh, they're making it. They're just making it, and we're talking about 1 or 2 meters. That was a very, very close crossing. So Delta Lloyd is ahead of Ericsson 4, and if Juni Bermudez can lay Delta Lloyd to the finish line from there, they are safe in 3rd place.
That was a punchy call from Luis Doreste there to keep going on port and trying to cross the starboard jibe boat. That was a big, big call. It meant a difference between a place on the podium or a 4th place there, I think, for those guys. It's the kind of call you need from double gold medalist.
This is Knut again on the finish line, and I was a little early to call there because the line was, as you remember, a bit thin and favored. So I'm not sure that Delta Lloyd really has this in the bag yet, because they still have to get down to the line. And from my position, I can't really see who is first of them.
Well, we've got a pretty good helicopter shot of it right now. It does look like it's Delta Lloyd. They're shaking hands. Congratulations all around as Delta Lloyd crosses in 3rd. Puma ahead of them in 2nd place, and Ericsson 4 now looking like they are about to cross in 4th place, just a little bit behind. But what a race by Juni Bermudez and company, Mark, on Delta Lloyd. 3rd place, incredible. And here we've got another real battle going on, Knut, between Green Dragon and Telefonica Black.
Yes, we do. They both jived at the same time there. And the question now is really who of these guys have the best angle to the finish line. It looks to me that Telefonica Black has more speed in the boat through the jive, and Green Dragon really popped up there in the jive, ending up coming out too low. So I wouldn't be surprised if Telefonica Black managed to clinch this one and then just cross ahead of them on the finish line.
Yeah, certainly from that helicopter shot, Telefonica Black, which is, of course, where Luis Doreste is sailing, not on Delta Lloyd, had the speed out of that jive, a nice job, and they've taken that fifth place. Green Dragon going to come home in 6th.
Oh, it's only
all right, so
2.4.
Telefonica Black ahead there of Green Dragon. Telefonica Black ahead of Green Dragon. 5th for Tele Black, 6th for Green Dragon. They'll be disappointed with that. They were in the mix right up until the very end there. And Ericsson 3 coming home in 7th place here. So really great action out on the race course, especially in the middle pack of the fleet. Telefonica Blue winning the light import race. 2nd place for Puma. 3rd place for Delta Lloyd. A 4th place finish for Ericsson 4. 5th place goes to Telefonica Black. 6th to Green Dragon. And 7th place is Ericsson 3 just coming across the line now, bringing that Spinnaker down. Those are the results from race 1. And we'll wait to hear from the race committee and see whether we are going to try and get this 2nd race underway and off. But we'll have to see whether we have time to do that or not. Knut, are you hearing anything from Bill O'Hara and the race committee?
Yeah, at the moment the plan is to run a 2nd race. They're just doing a double check on the wind and seeing that it is actually going to hold up, but the plan is still to do a second race, yes.
Outstanding. So it looks like we will be able to squeeze a second one in. Unfortunately, it did take a long time to get conditions that were suitable for racing, but Mark, once we did, it's come in fantastically. What a race.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, these boats in this race course format just give us action every single time. You don't need much breeze, and in fact, almost in some ways, the lighter and puffier it is, the better it is, because the angles change so fast, the speed changes so fast, the boats are so powerful that they just accelerate into gaps and change the dynamics of the race course really, really quickly. So it always gives us great action.
We just have an announcement here from the race committee, and the warning signal for the second race is going to be at 16:20.
At 16:20, so not leaving an awful lot of time in between. That is the latest time that they are able to get a warning signal off, 16:20. That's what's in the sailing instruction. Welcome back to Rio de Janeiro. It's the light import race day in the Volvo Ocean Race. My name is Peter Rush. I'm here with Mark Chisnell, and we were with Knut Frostad. We've had race 1. When we left you, we were telling you race 2 would be starting at the bottom of the hour. We've since heard from the race committee conditions aren't going to hold long enough. They're worried this weak sea breeze isn't going to hold long enough to get another race in. So the second race has been done. We're done for the day based on race 1. We're on board there with Delta Lloyd, Mark, and they had a great result here.
It's a fantastic afternoon for those boys. They were in quite a bit of trouble at the top mark the first time, but they got that puff with Telefonica Blue down the first run and sailed themselves up into second place. And really, that's the best result those guys have had in this regatta so far.
All right, so we'll just quickly review the finishing positions from race 1. Well, Telefonica Blue, as Mark said, they were mid-fleet going around the top mark. They got a huge puff down the left-hand side of the race course on the first run. That shot them into the lead, and they held on to that. In fact, they extended that. They won the race. Puma had an interesting day. They had a port tack start. That they converted that into a great position around the top mark, leading around the top mark, and always up near the front of the pack. Second place on the race and the day for Puma, and then Delta Lloyd, as you said, Mark, in third place. Then it was all very close behind that. Ericsson 4, Telefonica Black, Green Dragon. It was all to play for down that final run between those guys.
That's right, and I think they did a really tidy job there on the Ericsson 4 in the end. They jabbed away with Black and Green Dragon at a crucial point. It looked like they could actually have gone to the back of that entire pack at that stage, but they came out of it in good shape and finally got themselves a fourth place there.
And a really disappointing day for Magnus Olsen and the guys on Ericsson 3. They didn't have a bad start. They were down near the pin end of the starting line. They were a little bit second row, though, and they kind of got spat out the back by Green Dragon there, and they never recovered from that. They did stay in the mix long enough on the second beat to get into a port starboard incident, but penalized for that. That dropped them right back and well behind the others. So Ericsson 3 is your 7th place finisher. So first Telefonica Blue, second Puma, third Delta Lloyd, fourth Ericsson 4, then Telefonica Black, Green Dragon in 6th place, very close finish with Tele Black, and then Ericsson 3. Now, what does that do to the overall leaderboard? Well, it doesn't change the order, but it does close things up a little bit, especially between second and third place for between Puma and Telefonica Blue. At the top of the table, well, we still have Ericsson 4 up there. They remain your overall leader. They've got 66 points. Behind them is Puma, 56.5. Then Telefonica Blue, 54.5. Just 2 points between those guys now. 10 points back to Ericsson 3. Green Dragon, 3 points behind them, 3.5 points behind them, I should say. And then it's a long way back to Telefonica Black, and probably the biggest mover in terms of increasing their standing would be Delta Lloyd, but they're starting from a pretty low position. Those are our unofficial results and points. If you want the official ones, go to the website, volvooceanrace.org. Everything will be updated there shortly. We'll also have full reaction from the crews when they get back to the dock. Lots of photographs from the racing today. And if you want to watch this again, well, it'll be streamed up there as well later today. You can download it and watch the racing yet again. But for now, from Rio de Janeiro, we're going to leave you. Please remember to come back next week onto the website. We'll have audio commentary, live audio coverage of the restart for the leg up to Boston. That's leg 6 of the Volvo Ocean Race. For now, for Mark Chisnell and Knut Frostad, I'm Peter Rush. Thank you for joining us today.